Welcome to Becoming Church, the podcast where we discuss how the message and movement of Jesus is not just about becoming Christians, but about becoming the church that the world needs. My guest today is my friend Kierre. If you have ever been to Mosaic or worshiped with us online, I know that you're already excited because we are big fans of his over here. If this is your first introduction to Kierre, I am thrilled that I get to be the one to make the introduction and to bring his joy into your life today. Friend, I'm so excited you're here.
So excited to be here. It's taken a while, but I'm here.
I know, but we did it.
Yeah.
Here's what I'm going to need you to help me do, though.
Okay.
I'm going to need you to help me remember that I have this microphone right here, that we are both behind microphones, because my concern is that you and I are just going to get to chatting like it's a Sunday lunch.
Right. At Verde.
Yeah, Verde. That's right. That's right.
Yeah.
And those are good and fun and important conversations, but they don't need to be out in the public.
Exactly. Yes.
Well, I want to get a little bit into, I call you my brother. I feel like I know you very well, but for people that are listening, maybe they haven't worshiped with you here at Mosaic, give us a little bit of background, whatever you want to say about who you are.
Hey, everybody. My name is Kierre Lindsay, also Kierre Bjorn. Don't be thrown off by that. That is my middle name, not a stage name, but I guess it is a stage name, but it's my actual middle name, Kierre Bjorn Lindsay.
Okay, I keep mixing it up. I was calling you Kierre. I think I went from Kierre Bjorn. Am I saying it right?
Yeah.
Say it again.
Kierre Bjorn.
Bjorn. And then I think I switched to Kierre Lindsay because I was like, no, that's his real last name. And then my brain was like, no, you're doing it wrong. And then I went back to Kierre Bjorn.
So I've confused everybody for...
You have. Thank you.
At least since 2010 with that. But yeah, so it's Kierre Bjorn Lindsay.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm from Winston-Salem, North Carolina. I live in a small suburb outside of there, and with my wife and our 3 kids. I've been married it'll be 9 years in August. I'm an artist. I'm a songwriter. I'm a worship leader, worship pastor, and I love all things creative. I have my hands in a few other things as well, but I'm just me. I thrive in collaboration, and I love laughing. I love food. That's me. And I love taking naps.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Yeah.
Even with those 3 little kids?
Yeah. Well,
you try.
I'll nap with John.
There you go. There you go.
Yeah. You go. But that's me. That's a little bit about me. I love the Lord so much, and I am forever a promoter and disciple of his. Yeah.
Well, and I just think your joy, when I think of you, I just think joy, even when I can't think of which last name to use. I do just think joy.
Good.
And it really does come from, you can tell in leading worship and behind the scenes conversations that it really does come from not just your love of the Lord, but also an acceptance of how much he loves you. I think.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah.
I feel that.
Well, let's go back to, I think you said 2010, which is probably where this whole name confusion thing kind of started.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yeah. You
almost lived a different life. You did something that's very fun that a lot of people have probably dreamed of doing. What did you do? What am I talking about?
Well, so that was in 2012 and 2013.
Oh, okay. Then take us back even further.
Yeah. I was on The Voice, and it was season 6.
Okay.
I think now they're on season 30 something, which is crazy. So I'm a dinosaur when it comes to. But yeah, it was 2012. But the whole process, what a lot of people don't know, it takes a while. So from 2012 to 2013 is the whole process of where even I made it on the show, which was not very far at all, but really still a cool experience. Yeah. So The Voice was a show that I had always wanted to, in my mind. I'm I would love to do something like that. Seeing the energy in the room. But one thing I was I'm not standing in line with 50,000 people to do that and sleeping outside, and I'm not doing all that. So I kind of let it go, and I enjoyed watching. I was hardcore watching the show. One day I was literally on the couch taking a nap. Told you I like to nap. I was taking a nap and I woke up and I checked my email and there was an email from NBC and they were like, "Hi, Kierre. I'm sure I should have had the email to read to you, but hi, Kierre. We've heard so much about you and we love all of your videos and blah, 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 blah. You're an incredible artist. We would love to invite you to be a part of, to audition for The Voice and a private audition." So I was like, first of all, I was like, this spam,
Yeah.
playing with my heart and my emotions. And then I did my due diligence and I called I emailed back.
Okay.
They emailed me back immediately and I called the number that they provided and it was real. NBC was contacting me to go to Charlotte, do a private audition for the show.
It was here?
Yeah.
Oh,
it was in Charlotte at a studio.
Okay.
It was a cool studio in Charlotte that we did the audition. And it was like it was like a performance. They had the cameras set up. It was like, I think they had some candles. It was like an actual like set.
Yeah,
and,
like a music video.
Yeah. So long story short, with that part, they gave me a list of songs to choose from of like 300 and something songs.
Wow.
And I could choose 3 songs that I would perform for the producers that were there. And I did that. And fast forward again, didn't hear from them for about a week, 2 weeks, heard back. We loved it. We want you to come to the executive auditions. That's when they fly you to Los Angeles and you spend 2.5 weeks there and they're getting to know you and you get assigned a producer that is just your producer and they're learning all about your life, your family, your loves, your dislikes, who you are as an artist, like having conversations throughout the week, every week, like they're your friend. And yeah, I mean, they treated me like an artist, like not a number, not a wannabe, but like, what is your name going to be? What is your style going to be? What is all of that stuff? And they take you to the Universal Studios back lot where they're like, they take you into the dressing room. They're like, what do you want to look like? And I'm like, and it's like,
so, just like a big old closet.
It's walls of belts and hats and pants and shirts. And,
oh my gosh, were you in heaven?
My God, shoes, like any brand that you could think of was there for people who like fashion. And if it was not there, you could put in a request and they would get it for you. No lie.
That's amazing.
But I was so overwhelmed by that I didn't even do all that. But yeah, so
I don't like give me that black t-shirt and those jeans.
Exactly. I collaborated with the stylist there a lot, but I mean, they gave you the top voice coaches, top performance coaches, the top lawyers, because while you're on the show, there's a lot of legal things. So you get great lawyers like Justin Bieber's lawyer, John Legend's lawyer, all these different pop stars, lawyers. And they pay you to, I mean, I don't know if I'm telling too much.
Just to be there?
Just to be there. Just to be there. I got paid. And I'm not.
No, did they pay you like when people go to jury duty and they get like $11 in the sub? Okay.
I could have bought, at that time in 2013, I probably could have went and like put a really good down payment on a car.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm talking about a few $1,000s.
Now, hold on. Do you think this is true across the board for everybody that makes it? Or is this because you were on that like private invitation, you kind of got fast tracked to this level?
This is everybody. This is everybody who's at that point. So it goes from like, at that point, I don't know, 50,000 or more, 60,000 people audition. Okay. The next executive auditions. By the time the executive auditions are around, we're down to like 200 and something people.
Okay.
And then I did that and went home, came back a few weeks later, and that was the blind auditions. When you get down to the blind audition section, it's like 100 or less of you guys out of 50,000 people. And so, yeah, they're paying you per diem, put you in the nicest hotel, anything you need, you have. There's something that we had at the time. I don't know if they still do that. It was called the bat phone. And so they give you this number, anything that you need, 24 hours, 7 days a week around the clock. You can call, and if they can get it, they will get it.
Wow. That is great.
They had the penthouse in the hotel. So if you needed a place to clear your head, just to hang out, talk to somebody, there. You could go there at any moment. I mean, they really, really took great care and probably still do. I mean, that was 2010. 2012. I can only imagine that they have upped what they were doing before, and they were already killing the game then, like really taking care of artists. It was an incredible experience. I don't know how much you want me to talk about it or where you want me to go, but it does intersect a little bit with where I was in my life as far as ministry, like what's next. It really was like a stepping stone to that.
Before we get to the ministry and the stepping stone part, I think what the people really want to know is, one, what did you sing?
Right.
What song did you sing?
I sang, I don't even think they make music anymore. Sorry if you guys do and you end up seeing this.
I'm sure they're listening.
Right. I appreciate you. Swedish House Mafia. I sang Don't You Worry, Child. Don't you worry, child.
Oh, yeah.
Heaven's got a plan for you. Yeah, I sang that with my own like arrangement a little bit.
Oh, cool.
That's what we ended up on out of 300 and something songs, because when they're choosing the songs, of course, they're like making sure each artist has a song that represents them, but also it's not too close to what another artist is going to do. And, trying to place everyone right. So that was a little stressful for me and hard because I'm an indecisive person. And you give me 300 songs, you're like, choose 3, your favorite 3. I'm like, oh my gosh. I think another one of the songs was a John Legend song. And then I forgot the other one. But I worked with that amazing band to create my own version of it. They approved. And yeah, I did that. I did it. That's the song I did.
I love that. So you made it to the stage where they like turned around in the chairs?
Yes. But
who were the judges then? Do you remember?
Shakira, Usher, Adam Levine, and Blake Shelton.
You got to talk to Usher.
I got to hug each and every last one of them. Oh, and after you perform on that stage, you get a few moments to just talk. When the camera stopped rolling, you get to keep talking to them and just gleaning from them. And that was an amazing experience too. Yeah.
So who turned around for you?
So no one turned around.
Shut up.
No one turned around. If someone would have turned around, or if all 4 of them would have turned around, it was between, for me, Adam and Usher, because clearly I grew up on Usher's music and he was an inspiration, but also Adam Levine at the time was a big inspiration to me with like his style and everything, and his songwriting, as well as Usher. But they always told you throughout the whole process, they're like, we know that you think you know who you want to choose, but you don't know until you get on the stage. First of all, because you don't know who's going to turn or if anyone's going to turn.
Right.
But also, in that moment when they turn, your final decision-making process is dependent upon the conversations that you're having, the way they're fighting for you. Like, what you feel in that moment is more important than who you're a big fan of.
Yeah.
But I think I would have chosen Usher. Just because we have such similar backgrounds and with music and church and faith and all that stuff. But I didn't turn any chairs.
Kierre, I cannot believe that.
Well, think about this. It was many years ago. So I've grown a lot as a singer, as an artist, but also, I don't know if I did have the right song.
Okay.
And I don't, and even above that. So it was 2012. I had dropped out of college for this, y'all.
Okay.
I was just in the time I've always wanted to do music. I've always done music. I started at 12 years old with professional theater, started singing in church when I was 6, started leading worship when I was 12 as well. And so I knew music was my thing. Went to college for music business, was going to do entertainment law. Then I was like, well, that's kind of depressing. So let me just stick to performance. And
so, that doesn't sound so fun.
Right. I was not a star student. Like, I love to learn and all that, but in the classroom setting, I would always be daydreaming about like what I want to do with music, or or I was working at the time. I've been working since I was 12. So I was getting calls. I was going on many tours and things, studio sessions and all that through high school, through college. And so I got this opportunity, and my professors didn't really support it like that at the time. So I had to make a decision, and I felt like this was a once in a lifetime opportunity. They were like, if you do this, you'll have to withdraw from school. Okay, whatever, withdraw. Cause in my mind, I'm like, I'm about to be the boy. So I did that and went there. And I was also currently I was leading worship every now and then at a church in Greensboro, and possibly going on staff. And we were, negotiating and talking about that. And while there in the one of the meetings with the lawyers, they do like a big meeting with. It's not your personal lawyer. It's your lawyer, but it's like 15 other people too. Sure. And so I was sitting in the room while they were talking, and I was sitting beside this guy. I won't name names, but sitting beside this guy, he was there with his son, because if you're 18, 17 or younger, you had to have a guardian with you. Okay. And he was texting, and they took a little break talking with the lawyers. And he asked me about myself. I was like, I'm from, North Carolina, with Salem, worship leader. What do you do back home? I'm worship leader. I'm actually about to possibly come on staff at a church. And he was like, oh, cool. What church? I told him the name of the church, and he stopped. He was like, really? Are you serious? And I was like, yeah, why? He was like, this guy lives in Colorado, by the way. Okay. And was in ministry there. He was like, I'm texting so-and-so, who's the worship pastor at that church right now. He was texting him. I was like, really? What's his name? He told me his name. I was like, wow. Because doing this whole process, I'm like, God, okay, I'm doing this voice thing, but I just need to hear your voice. I need some kind of signs. I need some direction. Like, if this doesn't work out, what's next? And he's like, I'm texting him. I'm like, no way. So he starts telling me, like, he's been a mentor to the worship pastor that was going to be hiring me. And so that was like the first thing. And then another one of the...
So you weren't going in to take that guy's spot?
No.
You would have been like hired in as part of his team.
I was hired as a worship
like, that's
director.
Awkward.
Yeah. No, right. Yeah, no, it was a good thing.
Okay, good.
And fast forward, another one of the moments was there with the minors there. The parents would get tired at the end of the day, and they'd be like, Kierre, do you mind working with so-and-so with this song? They really need help with this or whatever. So I find myself praying with these kids, building these kids like confidence up and helping them with their songs. And I was like, okay, this feels really good. Like I'd done it a little bit before, but I was really doing it now. And that's what I ended up doing at this church. Yeah. And these kids were also worship leaders. I don't know people think that like now these shows are like, oh, everyone's a worship leader. This was 2012. Almost everybody on the show was a worship leader. So much so that we would have worship nights on Wednesdays. Around the fire pit at the hotel. Oh, people would have their guitars and cajones and all that stuff. The producers heard that there were a lot of believers on the show. So, and we weren't allowed to leave the hotel and things like that to hang out, because reporters were trying to figure out who's on the next season of The Voice. Sure. Because while we were there doing our thing, the current season was also filming. So it was and American Idol was also staying in the same hotel and also filming. So it was just reporters trying to figure out what's happening. Yeah. But the producers found out, and on Sunday mornings, they set up a room for us that had instruments and was set up as a church so that we could have worship service. On my season, there ended up being an actual pastor there who was on the show. Shout out to Biff Gore. I love you. He's in Colorado. He would preach the services, and then we would lead the worship. It was like this incredible experience. But the last confirming thing for me was when I was about to go on stage the first night to audition. And we had been there since 7 a.m. And it was now 9 p.m. Makeup, hair, wardrobe, all that stuff, interviews and all that stuff. And I'm back there with my mic. My voice coach gives me my microphone. Producer gives me my microphone. And we're back there. And then I hear, oh, Kierre, we're going to shut it down for tonight. Usher's birthday is today. And he wants to end early and go party. It's like, okay. I was like halfway thankful, halfway annoyed because I'm like, I've been here since 7 a.m., bro. Yeah. Usher. Yeah. So started that process all over, go back home. Go back to the hotel, a different hotel, because at this moment we don't have our phones. We don't have any communication because they don't want us to know teams are filling up and all that stuff. So they keep us all separated. Come back the next morning, 7 a.m. again, blah, 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 blah. Now it's 9 p.m. again. We're doing this again. Got my microphone. Producer's hyping me up like, you ready, Kierre? You've been killing it. You ready? You ready? I'm like, yeah. But then I had this feeling like, I don't think any chairs are going to turn for me. Like, not this depressive or deflating feeling, but like, I really think like my purpose here has been fulfilled. Like, I've gotten what I need from here. Weird feeling. But I'm still excited because I'm still about to go out here and have fun. Sure. I get on the stage. It's quiet, but you can feel the energy in the room. Yeah. The lights are doing their thing. And then in my ear, you hear the countdown, and then the band starts, and I start singing, performing. I don't remember anything about it other than it just felt so good. It's like the crowd's going and dancing, they're singing along, and the judges are in their chairs doing their thing. And go through my song, in my song, I'm like, oh, no chairs are turning. I think I was right. And by the end of the ending note, no chairs are turning. And so, they all turn around. Yeah. They're like, oh, what's your name? Kierre. Kierre. Oh, I don't know why I didn't turn right that. I didn't turn my chair. And they said nice. I remember Shakira. I forgot what she said. But Usher was like, dang, man, you can sing. And said some other things. Adam said the same thing. Blake said some really nice things about my voice. And he liked my shoes. I remember that.
You always have good shoes.
Well, thank you. He liked my shoes. And then we talked about some other things, and I don't remember all that stuff. But Usher was like, hey, I want you to come back. I was like, okay, I'll come back. And like, when they say that, they really mean it. Got off the stage. As soon as you get off the stage, there's this camera in your face. They're like, how do you feel? How do you feel right now? Yeah. I feel good. I remember saying to this camera, had an amazing time. I met some incredible friends that are lifetime friends. And I'm about to go back to North Carolina and be a part of an amazing church as a worship leader. Like, I'm saying this to the camera. Yeah. Like, I just felt so emboldened by Holy Spirit. Like, hey, I got you. I had you. This is what you asked for, the experience you asked for. Yeah. You did not have to stand in line at all. Yeah. Like, I gave this to you on a plate. Like, I never prayed about it or anything, but I always wondered what it would, what it'd be like. So he gave this to me. I got back to the room. At this time, they had flown my two god sisters out to be with me. They flew them out for like 4-5 days just to hang. Okay. Pay them per diem. They didn't have to worry about anything. So they were with me, and they were like, while we were in this room, we saw the camera. Like, all the judges were like wanting to press they had their hands on the button. They were like just waiting for something. Yeah. But they just couldn't. They couldn't press their buttons. And so there was like, Holy Spirit, like this what I experienced was for me. All the rest, no. And they have such a well-oiled machine. They put us in a car, drove us across the lot to a psychiatrist, because again, they take you from whatever life you're living. Some people came from homelessness, like literally living on the street, to being treated like a superstar. You're getting paid. People, you send a text message and something is waiting at your door. Like, they send in nail text to the ladies and hair, all the things. You're living like a superstar. And so
and then you go right back to reality.
When I say right back, the next morning, the first flight out we were on. Yeah. So some people can't handle that. So you go see the psychiatrist. I walked in the door. He was like, Kierre, get out of my face. He knew, like, he was the coolest guy ever. I forgot
he was like, you know, this is not your plan. Yeah. You know, you're supposed to be somewhere else.
He was like, you had a great time, didn't you? I was like, yes, I did. So he shooed me out of the room, gave me a hug, shooed me out of the room. And then I gave them some of their clothes back that I had.
Some of them
from the back lot, because you don't get to keep the clothes now. Okay. Which is a really cool thing, because you think about, I didn't get to keep the clothes, but those clothes have probably been on some of the top other shows, singing show. Like, how many other people have worn those things too? But they put us in the van, took us to the hotel. By the time we got there, handed us our flight for the next morning. We were out the next morning, and I'm in the airplane, like leaving LAX, looking down. I'm like, what the heck just happened?
Yeah, I bet.
What? Like, but it was like the coolest thing. It was a little bit. When I got home, I did experience a little bit of like sadness.
Fair.
But I was like, what the heck just happened? I just like was living a part of my dream, and my sisters were here. Like, that was pretty cool.
Yeah.
One of the most amazing experiences I've ever had while I was there too. Like, you walk across the street from the hotel and you're eating lunch, but in the room, because where it was, Jonas Brothers, Jennifer Lopez, Britney Spears, not Britney Spears, Rihanna's folks. Like, you're just like intermingling with these superstars and then people, and they don't have their bodyguards and stuff, and you're just chilling. You're here, but the Jonas Brothers are there. You're trying to like, eat your food. Like, yeah,
You're like, yeah, we're cool. We're cool.
I'm
We're the
not
same.
phased. Jonas Brothers have always been some of my favorite, just for their style and their music and stuff. Okay, I'm not phased, but I want to go over there and be like, but yeah, that was my experience. It was incredible, and I got home, accepted my job offer, and first of all, they gave me their blessing to do that because I knew I was interviewing. I was like, okay, this is what's happening. They were like, cool, go do it, and so I did that. And came back, awesome. And yeah, so that was a very long story. No, there's so many other things too, but I still talk to a lot of those folks today. They're still good friends of mine. And yeah, it's sometimes it feels like another life lived.
I'm sure. Well, and that's kind of what I was thinking too. Like, I know that you had this supernatural peace and clarity of like, hey, this is, even before you walked out, like, this is not going to be your plan. And you had a thing, God had a thing for you to come back to. But do you ever you remember that Sliding Doors movie with Gwyneth Paltrow? Do you ever have a sliding doors moment where you like wonder what your life would have been if you had won or if you had gone further?
I do. Because when I got back, first of all, you have to be silent for a while because you signed a contract and they're filming. You don't get to tell I wasn't able to tell anybody why I was even in LA for months.
Oh, why that you were even there?
No.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Like,
okay.
Most people didn't know. My mom knew. I think that's it. Okay. Because I couldn't tell anybody. And I was there all that for the blind auditions all together. I lived in LA for like a little over a month doing that. But they make it look like you just walk up like, hey, no, yeah, I'm there. They're putting a lot of money and effort into making sure you're ready. But I couldn't talk about it when I got home. Of course, people that knew at the church were like, can you tell us a little? I'm like, I can't. This was like fall or end of summer. The show wasn't going to be debuting until January or February. So I'm like quiet. And when it finally came out, as I was watching some of my friends on there, like getting selected for teams and just watching their journey unfold, I did start wondering, like, that would have been cool. Because I never wanted to win. I never wanted to win only because just having, even back then I had friends who were in show business. I always knew that winners of the shows, contractually, and so it's just a lot of weight.
They get locked in, right, to like a time frame and periods and things they have to do and
all that stuff. And I was like, I don't know that I would want that.
Yeah.
But to have a good run on the show for a few shows, make a good impression, catch somebody's eye. Because at that time I was like, I want to be this singer that is like world renowned, this performer. I was like, to catch some ears and eyes that are movers and shakers in the industry. I would love that. And I also thought about, getting paid some more. But just hanging out and watching those dreams unfold with my friends. But I got to do it vicariously through them because while they were on the show, I'm texting them, like, hey, you killed it tonight or whatever. Or they're texting me like, hey, did you see this? How was that? And so that was really cool for me that, first of all, that they would include me in that because we were friends, but we weren't. We were still building relationship. It could have been like competition type friends. Like, you're gone now, get not gone. But no, I had like good friends, and so I got to live through them with that, and that was really cool. And when anything would get put off the show, call them and encourage them, and like, hey, you did great. You did what you were supposed to do. Now go do what you're supposed to do next. So
yeah,
I think I know this is what I know. I'm not trying to get deep. I wouldn't have met my wife, Marika, because I met her at the church that I came on staff at.
That very first church?
Yes.
Oh my gosh.
Met her there. I think about our 3 kids. Like, that would have changed the trajectory for that. I can't imagine not having them. Yes. I have 0 regrets about that experience. It was incredible. I love that I have that story and that experience. And I was invited back. But I was like, I took about 2 weeks to really think about, like, do you really? And they were going to do the same thing. Like, they were actually going to fast forward me straight to executive part where you're just with the main producer of the show. I was like, do you really want to give that time back again? Yeah. I was like, nah. Like, I'm honored. And this was at Usher's request. And I was honored, but it's like I'm in a different season of life now. I love my job. And I had a great experience that I don't have any regrets for. So, yeah.
That's awesome. It was incredible. I know, it's so crazy to think about those like sliding doors moments. And I do sometimes too. Like, I went through a really, really rough season of teaching when I was teaching. Mm-hmm. And sometimes I'm like, God, why did I leave this amazing, amazing school that I was at and go to this one then that was like so not amazing? I didn't know. But if I hadn't done that, I would have never left education. I would have never gotten into ministry. Like, I would never be doing this. I don't know if, God's going to do what God's going to do. He's going to work it out. But do you know what I'm saying? He
can route it, but.
Correct. But like, if I hadn't done that, I would not have then been in the opportunity to like step into ministry when I did. And just then it snowballs.
Yeah. The path.
It's crazy.
What I've learned is, like, of course, God has a solution and an answer for every and a move for every single decision we can ever make. His will prevails because he's so wise. And if I would have won, I have no doubt, because I think about my kid's purpose, Marika, I have no doubt that he could do his thing to make it, to bring me here today. But also, it's like that specific path, all of the things that I learned along the way, all the things that I gained, the maturing in my faith, maturing in my gift, maturing just in how to be a good friend and all that stuff. Yeah. I wouldn't have done it any other way. Yeah. I wouldn't have. Although some of the other ways would have been cool, but it would have been cool, but no, I wouldn't have done it any other way. And to think that I had an opportunity to do it again. And I was like, no, I'm good. Yeah. I'm good. Yeah. But it was really cool. It changed my life and made me bolder in my faith too. Because going there, I was afraid. I'm like, I'm a Christian. I really love the Lord, and I don't want to like be sequestered away from people because I don't know what people are, going to be like. Yeah. But I get there and we're all like praying and crying together and worshiping the Lord. And we actually got in trouble one time by the hotel. Like, y'all are a little loud. Can y'all take it inside? We were around the fire pits outside. Y'all, it's like y'all sound great, but do you mind going into this room? Yeah. But so it was yeah. What an amazing time.
Good. Okay, so fast forward, like what, 12 years, 13 years, something like that.
Yeah.
What are you doing with music now?
Now, I am writing for a lot of artists. I think 2 songs should be out this year. Christian artists, gospel artists, CCM artists. I'm also working on my own music. I have a single that is coming this year.
Okay.
Featuring a friend of mine, and I'm wrapping up some stuff with that to try to make sure it's ready. But we got that single coming, and then I'm working on an EP. I'm working on a Christmas song that I've been working on for like 3 years. Right.
Oh, I'm so excited.
2 Christmas songs, and um, every now and then I get to do some theater. I'm a part of the International Black Theater Festival here in Winston-Salem, which is a huge festival that brings 100,000 people here to the city for a week every 2 years. And so I get to be a part of that every year with theater, because theater is a love of mine. After I got back from The Voice, I actually ended up doing some off-Broadway in New York as well. And I'm doing some theater, doing music, and still leading worship and doing all the things I can with music. Music really, it's not my life. I used to, as a young person, I'm like, it's my life. No, it's not my life. But I very clearly recognize, respect, honor, and receive the mantle of music that the Lord has put on me. And I'm here to use it however he does it. Because, I mean, if he can take me to The Voice when I didn't do anything to get there, I'm like, okay, whatever you want to do, Lord, let's do it. And so I answer as he calls.
That's so great. And you've got your own, you already do have, I know you're working on stuff, but you also have some of your own music out there already.
I have a few songs out. I have Little Seed out, and that features my friend Naomi Rain from Maverick City Music. And I have Little Seed Dance Mix. And then You Walk With Me, which is a special song, which I'm actually doing another version of that. And I have that. And then I have songs with a collective. It's not really a collective. We call ourselves a library of songs. It's called Common Hymnal. And so I have plenty of music with Common Hymnal for over the last 8 years. And I'm still very much a part of it, what we call ourselves the ecosystem. And we've got tons of music rolling out literally as we speak.
I'm glad that you brought them up because I want to talk about Common Hymnal. I love Common Hymnal. I obviously love you. So every time I hear your voice, I'm like, there's my brother.
Yeah.
But Common Hymnal, talk about how they got started and what they're doing, because I don't know how to explain.
Yeah.
It's so much more than just like, here's some people coming together to make fantastic music.
Yeah. Thank you. So Common Hymnal, like I said, it's not a collective. It's not a group. It's not a singing group or anything like that. We call ourselves a library of songs. Okay. And so the goal of Common Hymnal is praise and protest. It's worship with a social conscience. And it's everything from political things to poverty, sexual abuse, any of those things. We try to make music for every season and even problem that somebody might be facing in life, alcoholism, whatever it might be. And so we started, my introduction to Common Hymnal was 2018. And it was at Johnny Cash's farm in Tennessee. Right. We were a part of a thing called Reunion that United Pursuit used to do.
Okay.
And I met Malcolm Duplessis, who is the founder of Common Hymnal. He's a white South African man who is passionate about justice, who was a part of all the apartheid stuff back in South Africa, created music like we do have with Common Hymnal now that made an uproar in the government. I mean, he's here because he had to get out of there because his music was causing people to rise up and stand up and fight back against injustice. He's like being jailed and everything. So he's been here for 40 years now. Kindest man ever. And he started Common Hymnal because he felt, he had a prophetic vision of what his life would look like here in the States and what God was calling him to do. And so he followed that, and that is Common Hymnal. And it's like, I can't put a number on how many people are a part. I would say at our core, it's like 25 to 30 of us.
So
But
it's
we
just kind of
have
fluid and just kind of changes
very
depending
much
on.
so. Like when
Okay.
we're recording music, everything is very well oiled and very well organized, very well thought out. Like we'll listen to one song 10 times, like whose voice? Whose voice is this? We'll try. Like I've gone to Nashville or Knoxville, sang on a song, came back, they're like, "No, we need someone else's voice." Like we put the time in to get the right people on the right songs.
Yeah.
But we have a lot of albums. We have about maybe like 6 albums, whether they're EPs or full albums. We have songs about depression, about alcoholism, sexual abuse, political things, racism, poverty, all the things, that the whole gamut. And that's what we do. That's who we are.
Yeah.
We don't we're not offended by people. What we call ourselves the underground church. Nothing creepy, not like vampires, not like nothing anti-Christian, but just knowing that a lot of our music won't be played at churches on a Sunday morning.
Yeah.
Or fast forward to today, a lot of our music actually is played on Sunday mornings, which is really cool.
That's awesome.
In all kinds of churches, Pentecostal, Presbyterian, all kinds of churches. And so that's who we are. And we are passionate about being the hands and feet of Jesus with our music. And if you ever need anything that you need to check out of the library, you just go to our site. You can see our songs. You can go to Apple Music, Spotify. We have songs for everything that are meant to encourage you and to help lift you back up. And we also have fun songs too. Don't get me wrong. We got a lot of like, just, do your thing. So we got some bops too. But we love to reach across and hold people by the hand with whatever they're going through.
Well, and I think, I don't know when I found Common Hymnal. If it was through you, I feel like it wasn't until a little bit later, 2020 maybe.
Yeah.
And I just remember.
Yeah.
What's that?
I was going to say that makes sense because that's when a lot of people started to find our music because of like the George Floyd stuff, a lot of the injustices, and people were searching for like music and encouragement, or Spotify playlists and things started like putting our music out there because it was applicable to what was going on in the world.
Well, it's real. It's real in a way that, and I don't want to offend any of the creatives, or even I know you write other stuff, like, there's a lot of great music out there. There's a lot of great music that points people to the Lord and talks about the love of Jesus and, brings people in whatever season or emotion or stage of life that they're in. But something about the songs that Common Hymnal writes is real and like powerful in a way that, and consistently real and powerful in a way that I have not seen any other group do. So,
we toil with our music a lot.
You can tell.
Malcolm is very, very intentional, very focused, and we have a WhatsApp group. We have text chains where we are like, "Hey, this just happened. Anybody want to try to write a song about it? Anybody want to process their thoughts creatively?" But it's always flowing every day, every day or every week. We're keeping the conversation going. We've gotten to do some really cool things, even with the Martin Luther King Foundation, with Miss Bernice King and their Be Love organization, or continual partnership with them. But he's just very intentional with who we connect with. He's not like a dictator at all with this. Like, he lets us run the show, and he's like the old wise man who's like, these are my thoughts, but there you go.
Well, it's working because you guys stay so super relevant. There are sometimes where I'll get a new song that pops up on Spotify, or I use a lot of Common Hymnal music when Instagram is like, "Hey, this post would do better if you put a song behind it." I'm like, let me see what I can find.
Look us up.
But there are times where I'm like, how did y'all already write and put out a song about this? I feel like it just happened.
Yeah. Like a lot of the songs releasing even now are songs we wrote 2 years ago.
Wow.
And it can be 2 people writing together, 5 people writing together, one person. The songs are vetted. It's just a very honorable, respectful atmosphere for artists. Everyone is respected, but also business wise, everyone is respected.
That's good.
With royalties, like some of the songs you hear were inspired by conversations that someone had with their mom or their pastor or their friend. Those people that inspired the conversation that became a song get royalties from the song as a piece of honor of like helping inspire the song. So it's like a very, and some of these people are not musical at all, but they're getting music royalties because they inspired a song. So it's a really honoring atmosphere. And everything is not like some of the things we have written have been times where we had to have a discussion about, like, because we weren't agreeing with how we felt, or someone wasn't fully there on processing, their thoughts about it. And so we had to talk through some things in order for the song to be birthed, or be prophetic even with the song when we weren't feeling it. It's a really healing atmosphere that we have with Common Hymnal. Malcolm is amazing. Everyone that's a part. We do have some new leaders that are like kind of leading the charge. I think about Jalen and So Chill and gosh, Royce. Everybody's just very intentional, very loving. We have every race and ethnicity represented. We have songs even that are dedicated to the Asian community. It's just we try to see everyone and honor everyone with at least one song. So yeah, it's incredible. It's exhausting sometimes too, because you're being so intentional and you're really trying to high five everybody or hug everybody or see everybody with the song. And but it's so worth it. It's worth all of the work. It's worth it.
Well, you called Common Hymnal the underground church. And I know that you worship in a lot of churches. So I want to ask you a couple questions about the church here as we kind of get toward the end of our conversation. But I know that you lead worship and have led worship at a lot of churches. What are you seeing in the global church, or maybe the Western American church now, that gives you hope? What are you seeing that gives you hope? We'll start there.
Well, my number one strength on Strength Finders assessment is positivity. So I have a lot of hope, despite a lot of the things that are happening. I see people, doing this motion, like maybe thinking and leaning into conversation, even leaning into some common hymnal stuff. I have conversations weekly about, hey, can I talk about this? Can I do, how do you feel about this? How did y'all do this? So I see people who are like worship leaders at large churches leaning their ear in and saying, okay, I'm listening. I see, being in green rooms, I'm being a part of conversations that I'm like, wow, this is good. Like this is a real conversation. This is not conference talk. This is not like I sense authenticity. It's not performance. And you're not just like talking to blow some hot air out. Like you're actually asking a good question that I'm like, I need a minute to think about that, because I wasn't expecting to have this conversation, whether it's about race, culture. As a musician, I am really passionate about, and I have always been about how churches are, let's call them not underground churches, but mainstream churches are like, how are you choosing your music? How are you considering those on your team, whether they're black, white, Hispanic, whatever? Like, how are you making this an immersive cultural experience to the best of your ability? Because that you can get really technical with that, but to know that people are wanting and desiring and trying, not always even like success, excelling in that, but trying, has been really encouraging. I feel like God is being so gracious with us, with the church, because I'm a part of the underground church and the mainstream church.
Yeah.
Unapologetically, I know what God has called me to do, and at this point,
yes.
and so I feel like a bridge between what we do with Common Hymnal and what most churches are doing, and it's a badge of honor for me to be that bridge. But I feel like people are walking across the bridge, and that has not always been, because some people will walk across the bridge to throw a rock or
right.
to
right.
talk junk or whatever. But people are walking across the bridge both ways, or at least meeting halfway on the bridge
Yeah.
to talk.
Yeah.
And so that's encouraging to me.
Good.
Specifically, again, musically, because it's so important. Music is the universal language. It's in restaurants, it's in church, it's at birthday parties, it's in clothing stores, it's everywhere. So music is important. And so to see people talking about music and its effect and how it can bring people together, specifically believers in Jesus, how it connects us, and how it is owed respect. The truth of what you're doing with your music in your churches, to honor the people on your team and to honor the people in your congregation. So that's what I see. And apart from, musically, in general, I feel like people are so desperate for the presence of God and for the blessing of God to be on what they're doing, that it's pushing them to love better, because they're realizing, I can't do this on my own, so I'm having a conversation with you now. And so they're loving people better, which also is an instruction from God, and God honors that. And so it's like things are happening because people, despite some of the things that are not loving and are unkind and are unjust and all that stuff that's happening, and that's going to always happen until Jesus comes back. But there's a lot of love happening too. And I refuse to not acknowledge that. I refuse to not celebrate that. It's some beautiful things happening through conversation and through authentic relationship.
And through music, like you said, music does open the door. I mean, again, not to go back to Common Hymnal, but I'm gonna. Even those, when I think the people that are like, I would like to walk across the bridge, but I don't know where it is, or I don't know how to like step onto it. I do think that music can help them find the language and start to have words and understand concepts. And so it's beautiful.
Yeah.
On the other side of the coin, what are you seeing in the church that gives you pause, or that maybe you wish was a little different?
Yeah. So on the other side, I see siloed churches, which again is not new, but I feel that we should all know now and be able to discern that siloing ourselves is not helping. It will not help. Um, of course, you still see a lot of people who are like, hey, you're speaking about racism and injustice and you're causing division because you're speaking about it, and they're talking about it from their pulpits or whatever. That's not helpful. That's also not true. That's a lie. You're exposing and shining a light on injustice and division that already exists. So I see that. Again, I don't think that's ever going to actually stop until Jesus comes back. And I also see still just blatant wrong teaching of culture. Like people teaching from their pulpits to other people, like for their people to other people, like the phrase of don't other that person, like don't put them aside and devalue who they are and who they are in the world and what God has called them to do. There's still a lot of that because we're not taking the time to understand each other and knowing that we can disagree. I know it's said all the time, but we can disagree and still love somebody. It's not so simple, and it's not black and white or this narrow, easy road, but it's worth it. And it's what God has called us to do.
Yes.
And so instead of having conversations with people are going to their pulpits or to their social media in Jesus' name and othering people and not loving people well and shaming people, casting people down, canceling people. And it's just such a hypocritical thing to do because each of us can be canceled for something.
Sure. Right.
Each of us maybe deserves to be canceled or shunned. But we got to show grace and love. And when we do need to call something out, call it out in love without shunning the person away from the world. But I see a lot of that still, mainly on social media. You know, the power of social media. Everyone has a voice, whether it's a voice that is dividing or uniting.
Yeah. And I think the difference between the two on social media, at least what I've seen, is like the hopeful ones, the ones that are really trying to, you know, show empathy and compassion and love for people and, you know, kind of take those red letters of Jesus and bring that into the world. That's a conversation.
Right.
Where the ones that are then going to go like shaming, no, division, they're like just monologuing.
Boom. Boom. Yeah.
And that's a very easy way to tell the difference. I mean, if you can't already tell the difference, but you know.
Exactly. And just, you know, to I know we're about to end, just to even politically, I feel like at this point in our lives, at this point in the political sphere, it's undeniable that there's a lot of hate and malice coming from the White House and administration to all people. Like, excuse me for saying, but even white people, like there's just pure hate coming from there, from the administration and a lot of other places. And people are still scared to call that out. And we got to call it out. It is the enemy. I'm not calling them the enemy, but it is the enemy. It's a lot of words of the enemy, a lot of words of shaming and devaluing people and dehumanizing people coming from the White House. And it's like, stop being scared to talk about that.
Yeah.
Because when you are silent about it, or you are posting something that kind of seems like a like, that's divisive. Because now I don't see you calling out the injustice, so I'm left to think that you're okay with it. Or I'm seeing you share something without using your own words about how you feel about it, and it looks like you are supporting it. Or you were really vocal at the beginning of this campaign, and all this crazy stuff has happened, and now you're silent. Or it's just, we just gotta stop. Everyone's political affiliation is private, as in they don't have to discuss it with someone, even though you can look it up. I don't look it up. I'm not saying I look it up, but I've had people come to me saying, "Oh, I looked up your voting stuff." Absolutely. You're a Democrat. It's like, no, I'm not. I'm an independent. But anyway, what was I saying? Just stop being scared to talk about it.
Yeah.
Because it's happening every single day. It's happening. And don't wash it up as just being the media or whatever. No, at this point, it is the media does its thing, but the media is showing us what is actually happening as well.
Yeah.
And so stop being scared to talk about it.
And I think the way that we align ourselves, like you said, on social media, you can talk about, I really, really love, and Kierre, you and I both know we could do a whole nother hour on this, and we won't, so I'm going to put a pin in it. But I do want to reiterate that you said you can talk about things that are of the enemy, that sound like the enemy, without calling the other side or the other people the enemy. We don't have to name names. We don't have to listen, we're going to pray for our leaders. We're going to pray for God's wisdom and discernment and all of the things. Yes. And we can call out hateful behavior and things that do not even the tiniest little bit look like the love or grace of Jesus.
Because either one of those actions doesn't cancel each other out.
Correct.
Even if it was a president that first of all, there's no president that as an adult, that I've been like, I agree with everything that's happening. So that's not a thing. But even if it was another president or administration, it's important to pray, because our Bibles say pray, but it's important to call out things that are harming other people. especially people that you're sitting in your church with, or serving on your teams with, or doing team nights with, or having coffee with, or have family members who are being affected by what this administration is doing. It's very important and harmful. It's important to talk about it, and it's harmful if it's just silent, or you're, celebrating what's happening. It's weird. It's very weird, and it seems oppressive. Back in the day, I would have been oppressed by that, but these days I'm like, okay, let's talk, because this is how I'm feeling with what you said, with what I saw. I want you to know I respect you and I love you, but I need clarity because this is what's going on in my mind. Also, I don't want to have a fake relationship with you. Also, I don't want to have a relationship with someone who actually hates me and who is supporting what's being done to people of my culture. Like
and that takes self-awareness and maturity to have those conversations.
It does, and I have not always had that. Or sometimes I have had it. I'm like, I don't want to use it, but I try to be productive, as honoring to what God has called me to do, what I believe He's called me to do, in that bridging place, but also in honor of what we do with Common Hymnal. I don't want to just completely throw away what we do. We are very adamant about injustice not being tolerated, but we also like, okay, but we want to have a conversation about it. And so, I'm still learning. I mean, I'm 36 years old. I'm not going to sit here and act like I know everything. But I've learned a lot, experienced a lot, and always seeking God with how to handle this, because this is always a part of my life on the daily in some way.
Yeah. Well, and you might have maybe just given us your answer, but I'm going to ask you anyway, because I have to ask everybody this last question, or my listeners are going to come for me and be like, why didn't you ask Kierre the question? So because the podcast is called Becoming Church, how can the people listening become the church to the people around them?
Become your brother and become your sister, because we are each other. And this doesn't work without each other. It doesn't work without me. It doesn't work without you. So become me and I'll become you. And that means I'll get to feel your pain. I'll get to feel your celebrations, and you get to feel my pain and my celebrations. And we'll learn together how to celebrate with each other, how to mourn with each other, because there's a season for all of that. But become each other, become your brother, become your sister.
That is so beautiful. I'm like, oh, that might be my favorite answer. Thank you.
You almost got me too.
I know.
With that question. That's a great question too.
Thank you. Well, I am so, so, so genuinely proud of you. I love you. I can't wait for you to be back here so we can worship together and go to lunch.
Yes.
Soon. Thank you,
I
friends.
love you too. Thank you.
Okay, my face actually hurts from smiling through this entire conversation. I just nodded along like a proud big sister the whole entire time. If you don't follow Kierre online, I encourage you to do so, and definitely look up his music on Spotify or wherever you like to listen. He is one of the most genuine, loving leaders out there, and God is speaking through him in a very powerful way. I actually have an interview with another member of Common Hymnal, David Gate, coming up for you in a couple of weeks. So be sure you're subscribed and have your automatic downloads turned on so you don't miss it or any of the other fantastic guests I've got lined up for you. I'm Kristen, and you can find me at Kristen Mockler Young on social media. As always, thanks for listening, and until next time, keep becoming the church to the people around you.